Hey Gav!
Hi Em.
What should our followers expect from this week's How to English TEFL podcast?
Well, you introduced the topic of the linchpin student.
Then we talk about using the grammar causative.
We discuss speaking fast or slow to different level students.
And in our quiz of the week, we either get or have things done or do it ourselves.
That's causative.
Yes.
Remember, followers, if you know someone who would enjoy our show, please give us a mention.
We'd be most grateful. Now it's time to start the show.
Welcome everybody, this is How to English, Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given when necessary.
Do you want to go and get it, Gav?
What's that, Em?
Your cup of tea?
I'll get it later, thanks.
Oh, okay. It's going to get cold though.
It is, but the pod is going to warm me up.
Is it?
What? The pod is refreshing enough for me right now.
Okay, and there'll be a cold cup of tea waiting for you afterwards.
Yes.
So that's good.
Double good.
Are you ready then?
We need to introduce ourselves first.
Well, you're Gav, and I'm Em, and I've introduced you and me, and we are TEFL teachers, going about our daily business of teaching English to people as a foreign language.
And every couple of weeks we sit down and have a good old natter on the topic of teaching and learning English.
And I have got a cup of tea, and I'm sorry to say I've got a biscuit as well that I can dunk in my cup of tea. And I can offer you a biscuit, Gav, but you've got nothing to dunk it into.
I haven't, but it's okay, Em, because I am super focused on today's episode.
I get that, Gav, I get that. So you got your notes there, I've got my notes there. Let's start. Have we got some housekeeping to do?
We haven't.
Really? You mean there were no mistakes? No add-ons from last week?
No, we can jump straight into today's episode.
So I am going to jump straight in, Gav, and I'm going to ask if you have the kind of classes I've got at the moment. Some of them...
Can you describe them to me first?
Just going to...
I can decide if I have got classes like these, or maybe I haven't, or perhaps while the followers are also participating in the episode, maybe they have got an opinion too, Em.
Maybe. I have got quite a lot of group classes, which...
Check.
I love teaching, and
I'm adding a check to this, Em,
okay.
So you can move on to the next class.
And these group classes, no, this is the group, so I want to focus on the groups because these groups can vary from 3 students to 6 students.
Essentially, a group class for me is 2 or more.
Yeah, I think that is standard. And I'm finding that in some of these classes that have established themselves, there is what I would call a linchpin student. What do you think is a linchpin student, Gav?
Is it the one where you pull out the pin and the grenade explodes and the student starts screaming?
You might need to flesh this one out a little bit more. How would that translate into a lesson? Because maybe it is a bit like that.
There may be a student in your class who you need to pander to and make sure they get a little more attention than some of the other students, or they may explode, slam something, refuse to speak anymore, or just not stop speaking or something.
None of those things, really. They are the one that holds it all together, creates the atmosphere, greases the wheel of communication. They're always there with a comment. They have extra questions. They get other students talking. They always seem to just keep the flow. And when they are not there, it's like a completely different class.
That sounds like you're describing an indispensable person or thing. Am I right?
Yeah, that's what I meant by linchpin. They are dispensable because obviously they're not always there. But when they're not there, it's really different.
It sounds like mayhem. You mean if they're not there, the whole thing might fall apart?
No, not fall apart. They are just a very different group. They're very different dynamically. They're obviously the one that talks perhaps a bit more. I would say that you were right in that sense. Maybe not that they need the attention, but they do generate more attention because they just chat a bit more. And when that student isn't there, the others have to step up a bit. And fill the void.
Have you tried excluding all of the other students in turn and finding whether they are also linchpins?
Yeah, this is clearly one student who comes that seems to be the instigator. You know what I mean? You must have students that when they're not there, for whatever reason, they're sick, they're on holiday, it's like you just start again. All those other students are still in the group, but it's like you see them with fresh eyes. Like you have time to focus on them and get them to generate the conversation.
When the linchpin is not there?
Yeah.
I think I do know what you mean, but I also think if you rearrange that class, you might have a number of different forms of that group.
I had a feeling you might say that everyone in their own special way is a linchpin. That seems like a Gav thing to say.
Or I'm saying if you have those two students, or maybe those three students, or this student on their own, or a different student on their own, again, you've got a completely different group.
I just quite enjoy that different dynamic every time the mix is different. Maybe 2 come, maybe 4 come, maybe it's a different group, a different 4, a different 3. And the mix up is fascinating. It's part of my job that I really like to study and analyse what happens when that person's there, what happens when that person's not there. And it's not just the linchpins, it's also the others, their personalities, how they mix together.
But you're saying when the linchpin is there, everything comes together.
Yeah.
And that's a fabulous group. You enjoy teaching them.
Yeah, it's like the little magic pixie dust that's sprinkled on the whole group. It's just easier. I'm not saying, they have to be there, but it's just obvious when they are and when they're not.
It just works.
Yes. And maybe some of the others do sit back a bit and think, oh, linchpin's here, we don't have to try so hard.
Do you think they're aware of that?
Good question. Maybe not. Don't know. I wouldn't ask them. Are you aware of your linchpinness?
Is there another word for linchpin in this context? Instigator I quite liked.
Yeah.
Can we think of them as some kind of gluey, jelly material that's making everything stick together?
The honey?
The honey.
We're getting a bit far down this rabbit hole. I'm just, that's what I wanted to start with.
I think I do know what you mean. I'm just going to picture one of my linchpin students. And yeah, I think when I connect online with my class, or when you walk into the classroom and you see, that student is there, we're going to have a good lesson today. They're going to bring the action.
Bring their A game.
Bring their A game.
Yeah.
It's all going to work. I just know it because that student is there. But when they're not there, I think, okay, different strategy. Might have a different lesson today.
Might have to work a little bit harder, maybe.
Well, the teacher work harder.
Yeah, or make the students work a bit harder.
That could be it.
But it is that kind of, linchpin's not here today. Right, let's think about this. I think as teachers, we're on the same page.
I think so.
And it's page 27, exercise C. No. Right, so Gav, what about you? How's your week been?
I discovered that some of my students both cut their hair and get their hair cut.
Really?
Although they didn't actually know the term to get or to have something done.
You're talking causative.
I am talking causative.
Very useful language, Gav. Very useful.
And when the student sees it, they think, that's peculiar. I'm not sure I've ever heard or seen that in English before. And you have to try and convince them that it's a really common expression.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Just by repeating it a lot.
Okay.
And also saying, well, how would you say it?
And then it's long-winded and I go to the hairdresser and somebody cuts my hair.
Not just somebody. Hopefully the hairdresser cuts your hair.
But they never know the word for hairdresser, so they usually say the
scissors person.
The hair cutter, usually. They say, I go to the shop and the hair cutter cuts my hair for me.
That was so breezy, I actually felt a slight chill in the air.
What are you talking about?
My hair was blowing.
Why?
You said it was long-winded.
Okay, breezy in the sense of long-winded. Nice. Yeah, so it's fine. It's good English. You can say it.
What is them?
Does the job, that long-winded, breezy sentence. But most people make it short and sweet and they say, I get my hair cut.
I'd already switched off halfway through your sentence.
Really? Okay, there we go.
Now, you asked me, how do I convince my students this is a common expression? They do say to me, maybe it's passive? And I say, it kind of looks a bit like passive, but it's not. It's causative. Get or have something done.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I show them some pictures, Em.
Right.
Sorry, were you going to drink your tea? Go
I
on.
was going to dunk my biscuit. Yeah, carry on. I'm nodding.
Let me show you these pictures. Maybe you can tell me what the person in the picture is doing, or maybe they are having or getting something done. Please proceed.
Right, I can see two pictures. On the left, there is someone with their car bonnet open, looking at what looks like a manual with some blue fluid in a bottle. And I would say she is fixing her car.
She is fixing. What's another word for fix?
Repairing.
Or
mending.
Oh, I like all of those words. And how about the other picture?
The other picture is similar, except that there are two people in overalls who look very professional and they look very confident, like they know what they're doing. So I'm going to say, I guess from my own perspective, I'm getting my car fixed.
I think you are, because those professional mechanics, it is mechanics, isn't it?
Yes,
Are repairing your car.
that's right.
And that's how I would say it. I'm getting my car repaired.
We don't need to say who is doing the repairing, a bit like passive. It's not really important. It's obvious it's a mechanic. So I'm getting or having my car repaired. What's the difference between have and get, Gav, in that sentence?
I say to my students, get is quite informal.
I would say any sentence with get is informal, pretty much.
Get married. Get an email. Get a job.
Yeah, I could give you the formal versions of
Get-
those sentences if you really want me to. Become betrothed to somebody
Oh,
and receive an email. And what was the other one? Get a job.
become employed.
Yes, that's the one. Become employed. See what I mean? Get is the informal version.
It does sound informal. Now that you mention it, Em.
We're not doing a get lesson. We're doing a causative lesson. But I agree with you. Get is more informal.
Em, I'm also demonstrating during our demonstration how you can
Demo inside a demo. Very meta.
how you can move simply from teaching one thing to teaching many things.
That is good. Yes, that is what we did.
Let me show you two more pictures, Em, and I'd like you to compare and contrast these two pictures for the followers.
So on the left side, I can see a quite dapper person with a squeegee mop doing something to the floor of an office. And on the right side, I can see someone looking at a computer, and in the background, there are lots of people cleaning. So I think on the left, he is cleaning his office, and on the right, she's having her office cleaned.
Or maybe let's make it a bit more informal.
He's cleaning his office, and she's getting her office cleaned.
It sounds good to me, Em.
Nice pictures. Really shows the difference.
Good demonstration as well. Did you see how we were feeding some other language in there? Do you remember what I asked you towards the beginning when you said fixing?
Other words for fixing, like repairing or mending.
Yeah, so you can feed all that extra language in there and the student doesn't really notice, or maybe they will, but they're going to learn some new words. Don't forget to write those words on the board or in the chat.
Very nice. And after this, I would go into asking my students what they can get done around where they live or in their town. What kind of services can you get done? What kind of beauty treatments can you have done? That kind of stuff.
That is exactly what I would do. And also reference the pictures as well. Remember, do you clean your home or do you get it cleaned by somebody?
Very nice. Could you fix your car or would you have to get it fixed by someone else?
That is it.
And swap up the tenses as well. I got my car cleaned. I will get my car cleaned.
I'm having it cleaned right now.
Yeah, all very good language.
I like the way you combined those two pictures of cleaning and cars.
Did I say cleaned car?
I don't know.
That's all right. That's good too. Gav, can I ask you a what would Gav do question?
You most certainly can.
Okay, you've got a new student in an established class.
When you say established, are you talking hours, days, weeks, months, years?
Months.
Oh,
Been going a while. And this new student has a name that is not typically from that country. So it's a foreign name, let's say.
well, they're all foreign to me.
Okay. But that student has decided to use a more European name, a more familiar name to us, perhaps.
Right.
So,
Em, can I interrupt you?
yeah.
I have experience of this. I think where you're going with this conversation is very similar to the experience I had when I was teaching in China. I had lots of little kids, and out of a class of 30, for example, I had one student who was using their Chinese name, and all the others were using a Western name, I guess you'd say.
Interesting. So what I'm asking you, I guess, is which one would you use? If you've been provided with both of those names, which one would you go with in the first lesson?
For the podcast followers, I am smiling
Why is that?
because I'm not completely sure which way to go with this conversation.
It's really difficult.
Kind of.
Well, there are things to consider.
Can I ask some questions?
Yes.
What do the other students refer to this student as?
Their Western name.
So the adopted name has been chosen by the student perhaps because it's easier,
Yeah, I think so.
or maybe they've been told to use this name by the student
Maybe. I think that is their name.
within the company, within the school, within the context that we're talking. And your question to me and the followers, I hope you've got an opinion on this, is what should we refer to the student as in the classroom
Yeah,
in front of their peers?
yeah.
What did they tell you
Well, that's it, really.
when they first introduced themselves?
I think they have to introduce themselves and you use the name that they use in that introduction, or you ask which name do you want me to use. You make it very clear.
I like that. You could be shocked and say, hold on, that's not what it says in the register.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a whole topic of conversation because I don't think the student would be embarrassed to talk about their other name, but then you have to be careful, maybe they would be.
Maybe first lesson, you don't want to make them feel awkward. So it could be a later conversation that you have, and then maybe later in the course you address it, and maybe the other students would like to start using the other name,
What's their email address?
the second name.
Oh, that doesn't help.
No.
I'm guessing that the student would be happy with you referring to them as either name, but for continuity, you might want to adopt the Western name just so the other students know who you're referring to.
Yeah, that's the problem, I think. If they don't know that person as that other name, they might not recognise that when you're addressing them or not.
Followers, what do you think? I'm going to go and get a cup of tea while you decide. Let's return to our demoing. Do you think we could do a little what's it like to be in the class with Em and Gav?
We're very rarely in the class together, Gav, but yeah, let's do that.
Well, let's imagine the pod is the classroom. Let's do a little role play. I was thinking this week how I do adapt myself to different situations, different contexts, different levels of student. I've got a new student who is relatively low, and so I've been speaking a little bit slower.
This is a one-to-one?
It is a one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder what your opinion is, Em, and whether we could demo what we do when we're faced with students of different levels.
All right.
Just a very simple, quick example of how we might do this.
And how will we do it?
Let's begin with a low-level student or a low-level class. We need to adapt our way of speaking, of communicating. And I've got the topic, which came from a student explaining that they were a bit tired because they had a late night, busy evening. Let's use the topic of evening activities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's pretend you're the teacher, I'm the student.
I had a feeling it might be that way round.
We can switch in a minute, don't
No,
worry.
it's fine, it's fine. Hi, Gav.
Hi, Teacher M.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, also, thank you. What did you do last night?
Last night, I played volleyball with my friends.
Where did you play volleyball?
I played volleyball in hall,
A sports hall.
sports hall.
You played volleyball in a sports hall. Very good. Did you win?
We win.
You won.
We all won.
We won. We won. Very good. Wow. How many games did you play?
We play 3 games.
Played.
Played.
We played.
We played 3 games.
Excellent. And did you win 3 games?
We won 2 games.
Oh, so the third game you lost.
Third, teacher?
1, 2, you won. And 3, the third.
1, 2 win.
First, second game, you won.
We win. 1.
And third, which is 3,
We lose.
lost. You lost.
Lose, lost.
Well, that's not bad.
It was great, but now I'm tired. Em, step out of the classroom.
Okay.
That was a really good improv. I enjoyed that.
That's so how it is. Very good, yes.
Now, let's switch it up.
Okay.
We're going to have a high-level group or high-level students.
Same topic?
Same topic.
Interesting.
Should I be the teacher this time?
Definitely you're going to be the teacher
Oh,
this
no,
time.
I'm in trouble.
Which one's more difficult or which one's more challenging? It's both quite interesting.
So let's do our improv together, Em, our demonstration, and then we'll analyse afterwards how we tried to present the lesson differently.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Em.
Hey, Gav.
How's it going?
Not bad. I'm very exhausted at the moment.
Very exhausted. I think you mean you're absolutely exhausted because it's an extreme adjective.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not absolutely exhausted. I'm really tired.
Really tired or very tired?
Yeah, I'm really tired.
What's happening?
Oh, I went out last night, played some volleyball.
Volleyball? What is volleyball?
Advanced, Gav, advanced.
I know, that's why I asked you such a difficult question.
Are you joking? You don't know what volleyball is?
I've heard of volleyball. Is it the one where you can only use your hands?
Yeah, you got to throw it over the net.
Or hit it over the net, I think.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, you got to hit it over the net.
Do you slam it? Do you dunk it? Do you volley it?
I think you do volley it, but you can lob it, you can smash it. Yeah, you've just got to hit the ground on the other side, basically.
At this point, I would definitely ask you, how many players? What are the roles? What are the fouls? What are the legal moves? Because I have no idea. I haven't got a clue how volleyball works.
To be honest, I'm an amateur, so I'm not exactly sure. But we had 2 people on either team.
Are these competitors?
Yeah, I've got 1 person with me and I'm trying to beat the other team of 2.
Team A, Team B. Have you got a team name?
No, we don't have team names. I'm an amateur myself, so I don't really know the rules, but we played a friendly game, 2 people on one team, 2 people on the other, and we were just going for points. We just started at first to 10 points. If you hit it out of the, I don't know what it's called, like the lines on the ground.
Isn't it the same as a tennis place that you play?
Tennis court?
Court, yeah.
Tennis court, yeah. So if you hit it out the court line, boundary maybe, then it's a foul or it's out, you play again, and if you hit the net, it's a foul, and that's really it. We don't take it too seriously.
And it's a bit like tennis, so you serve.
Yeah, take turns to serve.
That's nice. So how did you get into that?
Good question. I think it was a ex-partner that I had who was really into it, so I started doing it then. Can we stop now?
Em, let's stop.
Oh my goodness, I hate roleplay. Where did that come from? Yeah, so that was all imaginary. I don't know anything about volleyball, so apologies, followers, if none of that made sense.
I think it made perfect sense, Em. And in fact, it sounded a lot like some of the conversations I have with my students. I speak a lot faster. Did you notice that?
I did notice that. So if we compared the first and second demo, first time, I was speaking very slowly on my demo with the lower level student. And if you notice, my questions were all past simple questions, keeping it very much in the groove of past simple. Yes or no, maybe, and open questions starting with what and when and how, but generally it was all one tense. Whereas I don't know, I can't even remember what your tenses were. I think they were mainly past, but some were experience. We were mixing it up a bit more.
There was a bit of present in there. I do like to get my students to go into some rather minute detail on how things work, because I actually don't really know.
I was surprised that you went down that road. I would not ask my advanced students, how do you play volleyball, in the sort of, I don't know anything about volleyball kind of way. I might just go with a bit more, honesty, let's say, where I would say, I actually haven't played volleyball very much, so how does that work? Well, I quite liked you doing that because it took us down a specific road, and it's up to you as a teacher, I guess, where you want to go with it. If you want to start getting into the rules of sports, and that's one way to do it, or you could get into maybe the whole evening and what did you do after that, and or you could carry on, I suppose, after your intricate definitions of volleyball.
I like it because having those kind of conversations means that students get into obligation, language, rules, regulations, all this kind of stuff, which is a bit more complex, and there's lots of negatives in there too.
And you're really stretching their vocabulary as well, I think, because these are not everyday words, and that's really hard to do on a superficial level. Let's say if you're just talking about what you did last night, everybody says, yeah, I went home, watched TV, maybe played some sports, but how often do you have to actually explain the rules of volleyball to someone in English? It might just be, yeah, if you get someone at the club that wants to play, that you then need to do it. But actually, that's a really good skill.
And in my experience, students are very happy to go into detail on many topics.
I think with advanced, there's so many ways to do it that I feel it's choosing that direction carefully and not just doing it for the sake of doing it. I think it's good to just do that as small talk, but maybe if you want to create a lesson out of it, then yeah, you might want to get into obligation and rules and that kind of language without even realising you're doing it. You're just getting into it. It's about grammar, really, but it's not in the typical way of presenting it. As a teacher, we're going to do this page about this thing. It's a more organic way.
That's the way I teach them.
Nice, organically. Do you only eat organic as well?
No, I sort of mix it up a bit from time to time. Anyway.
Okay.
We have been running through this episode, which means it must be time for...
Quiz of the Week.
You're right, it's here already. And to fit with my previous activity I mentioned about causative, or to get something done or have something done, I thought I'd try testing you on these questions, and I would like some answers too.
I think you're going to have to just do it because I don't know what that means. But yeah, sure, I'm up for it.
Please complete this question. Do you clean your shoes or...
Do I have them cleaned?
And the answer, please?
I clean my own shoes, Gav.
Do you? Unless you're in a hotel, you might leave them outside the hotel
No,
door.
I've never done that. But I would maybe once in my life. I do like those machines, though, where you can get them cleaned by just pressing a button. Have you ever seen those?
Are they outside very nice houses?
Houses, or just public?
Oh.
Clean your shoes, everyone. It's free, on me.
I thought you meant, like, you know, when you go to a really posh house. And
No,
they've
not
got
the
a boot
boot
cleaner
scraper thing. No, not the boot scraper.
Are they outside train stations?
No, I don't think I've ever seen one.
I don't think I've ever seen a boat
I've seen
cleaner
one
machine.
in the gym once, and I've seen them in hotels, and I've seen them in some offices. It's just a kind of little device on a stand that's got a big brush on it, and you just press it and it buffs your shoes for you.
I think I was once chased by a boot cleaner in a country, but I got away.
That was a person, I guess, not a robot machine type thing.
Yeah.
Or that was a bad dream that you woke up from and thought was real.
Question 2. Will you redecorate your home or...
get someone to do it for me? Good question. I like to do a bit of DIY if I can, but I think I know my limits. So maybe some painting, fine. Skirting boards, yes.
A little wallpaper, perhaps?
Wallpaper sometimes. Door frames. But if it's anything like plastering or flooring...
Artexing.
Where are you from? The 1980s? Yeah, like plaster, ceilings, floors, electrics, water, any kind of plumbing, I will get it done.
You have already answered my third and final question, which is, if your toilet broke, would you repair it?
I would definitely have someone repair it for me. Every time.
That is a wonderful answer. I hope the followers also had as much fun listening to your answers as I did.
That was a short one. Okay, Gav, let me ask you one. If it was somebody special in your family's birthday, would you make a cake or would you
have it made? And my answer is I would try to make it myself the day before, but if it turns out a disaster, I'll pop to the shop in the morning and just pick up a ready-made one.
You wouldn't get one made.
No, I'm not rich enough to get somebody to make one for me.
All right, okay, you wouldn't even... Yeah, that's true. You would pick one up ready-made.
Off the hanger.
No, that's clothes. But yeah, I get it. There's 3 levels of cake, isn't there? Make it yourself, go and pick one up from the supermarket, or get one made.
Emma's got 3 tiers.
Oh,
Like
chocolate,
a wedding cake.
Vanilla, maybe strawberry in the other one. Nice. And okay, one more for you, Gav. Do you check your own blood pressure or...
I get it checked when I go to my annual checkup at the doctor's.
So they put that little thing on your arm and squeeze that pump that makes it go all tight and then... You don't do that yourself.
I don't do that myself. And then the doctor says to me, your blood pressure is normal. And I say, thank you very much. See you next year.
Very good. Some people do have those things at home, but it's nice to show the difference, isn't it, with this language?
Yeah, you either do it yourself or you get or have it done by somebody else. Emma's been an absolute delight as ever, but my tea is getting cold. Yours has disappeared.
It's just sludgy crumbs now at the bottom.
Mmm.
Get a spoon. I'm off to get a spoon.
Catch you next time.
Bye for now.